Ladies and gentlemen, brought back by popular demand. You've read her book, you've seen her movie. It's Carrie Anderson, queen of whole life entrepreneurship. And I'm Adam.
Hi.
Hey.
How are you? You can't talk back.
You're like Dora the Explorer.
Which one do I pick?
Azul. And it's blue.
Well, welcome to this week's live. This week we are talking about perspective. And this is a really interesting week for perspective for us because it is a birthday week here at Casa de Anderson, and talk about giving you some perspective when you realize they're not little anymore.
No. Are we talking about the company or the kids?
The kids.
The
kids.
Yeah.
The kids. Perspective is definitely changing as she gets older. So it's been had lots of opportunities to shift perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Being parents, don't you think?
Yeah. Do you have an example?
Oh,
Or is
many.
Is it too fresh? Do we need to move on?
So many.
Is this
so
a rabbit
many.
hole?
In fact, there are so many times that conversations with that person could just wind up in conflict.
Mm-hmm.
And I decide in the moment that I'm just going to be like, surely she didn't mean it to sound like that. Surely she wouldn't speak to her mother like that. I'm going to believe that was an accident. That she just completely fell out of her mouth by accident with such sass.
So your perspective is, for the next 8 years, she's just going to have a constant stream.
It's all just an accident. Bless her.
Bless her.
Yeah. So can you tell me exactly what perspective is when we talk about changing perspective in the middle of what could turn into a conflict?
Yes. Think about it this way. Perspective is your truth after a fact has been filtered through your beliefs and your story. So here's a fact. Sassy daughter, or daughter has tone of voice, right? And Carrie's truth is that little, oh my God, right? That's a truth. Eva's truth, whoever the little girl is that we're talking about, who might not remember that, is
she who shall not be named,
is saying that, hey, my truth is you're asking me to do a whole bunch of stuff and blah, blah, blah. So each one of them in this conflict or in this conversation has their own story that they're telling themselves.
Right. And
they have past history with each other that builds up a belief system. And so a perspective is a fact filtered through your beliefs, filtered through your current story, and that shoots out a truth.
Yes, I believe all of that to be true. What?
I'm just picturing the PowerPoint slide I can make. It's so good. That one, click.
So in the post that I wrote this week, we talked a little bit about kind of happening to your life instead of life happening to you. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that Adam tells our kids, and I just love it so much, and I don't think it was originally yours, but
probably is.
Yeah, because you're so wise. It does sound like some of your wisdom, but one of the things that he has given to our children, and I do think it's a gift, is this idea of, now, let me back up and say, what my parents told me when I was a grown up, when I was growing up was, you need an attitude adjustment.
Suck it up, buttercup.
Suck it up. But
suck it up.
I like that Adam goes to our kids and asks them about the way that they are responding within a moment. And the question that you ask is to me, by me, or through me. Is life happening to me? Mm-hmm. Is life happening by me? Or is life happening through me? So do you want to talk a little bit more about some of those components?
Absolutely. So life happening to you is you're a victim. Like, you have no control. You're sitting there and stuff's happening to you. Oh, did you hear what my boss said about me? Oh my gosh, traffic sucks. Oh, da 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 da. No matter what it is, your perspective is that of a victim. And that gives you only two options, fight or flight. Right? So with the perspective of life is happening to me, you're limited to two options. If you're lucky enough, you get to be intentional with your perspective and move over to life is happening by me. And by me means that you've decided to be the hero of your own life. And you've moved from two choices, fight or flight, to all of your potential creativity and all this stuff. So you moved away from victim to hero, and being that hero allows you to unlock all of your potential and really increases your capacity to handle a situation. So now when you're in traffic, it's, I'm in traffic and I'm going to be late, but I'll find a new route and I'll get the thing. And you're empowered knowing that you can show up in any situation and act as your own hero.
But.
A hero butt. Captain Butt! Da, 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 da. Yes. However, you are now also limited because you're only going to get the success or the results based off of your own personal best efforts. And even if you're remarkable, you are still limited. That word capacity I used earlier means that there's just a limit to what you can produce, right? And so, victim, hero, and then if you go to through me, life is happening through me. I kind of picture like either a traffic cop or better yet, a conductor of an orchestra. When you are the conductor of the orchestra, you've got your baton and you're conducting stuff, and sometimes somebody's out of tune over there and you can help them, but really it's just going through you. You're not the one responsible for any of that stuff, and so you don't even feel like you have to show up as a hero. What you do is you operate out of a sense of peace, out of a sense of your own strong beliefs, and you're doing it in such a way that you can really work with all these other people. And since you don't have to be the hero anymore, you now unlock everybody else's potential, and your options go from fight or flight, the best of what I can do, to a infinitely scalable resource that you can touch with every single person you come in contact with. That to me is pretty exciting.
Yeah, and I like the idea of a multi-faceted diamond. Yes, sometimes the light shines on this facet, but if you rotate how the light is refracted just slightly, then another facet of that diamond starts to shine. And I just think that that's a really cool imagery to think about how we can all make each other better in that way when we use life going through us to better.
I like that.
The bigger picture.
So I'm picturing your metaphor here is, when life happens through you, you're the diamond that's slowly spinning, and you get to use everyone else's light to create this thing of beauty. Where if you were the hero, then you're like a two-dimensional painting. And that's fantastic. It's a great painting. You Bob Ross the crap out of it. But this spinning diamond, and you get to control how fast it spins, and you are kind of the orchestra, but you don't really take responsibility for the light.
Right.
Or the lack thereof. You do what you can with what you have.
Or even the finished product of whatever the beautiful thing is. You don't even have to own that.
All you really have to do is show up, be the diamond, and slowly turn.
Yeah. So let's take another example. Friday morning was field day at our kids' school, and the kids had been given T-shirts. At school at some point earlier in the week that they were supposed to wear to school on Friday. Sort of in support of their own little teams. And when we woke up, the oldest one of the people that lives in our house realized that she couldn't find her T-shirt.
Not to be found.
We had no idea where it was. And of course, in true adolescent fashion, life was over. Literally asked me if she could stay home from school.
I don't want to go.
I'm like, I have another gray T-shirt. You could just wear a gray T-shirt. If it's not in your backpack, I'm sure it's in your in your cubby at school. No, it's gone. It's lost. It's gone. Blah, blah, blah. And it's, I mean, the story that she told herself just completely spun out of control. And I mean, that's obviously a really exaggerated story, but still, I mean, I think that those are the kind of moments that you just realize, yeah, you know what? This is not the bridge I'm going to die on today. I'm not going to let myself get worked up about this. Let's just let that move on past and move on to the next moment. And it does. And I tried to even tell her, you know what? Friday next week, you won't even remember this. You certainly won't remember it in 3 weeks or a month or a year or 10 years that you forgot your t-shirt. And it was, by the way, she found her t-shirt. Life went on.
So that happens in business too, where we get obsessed about a particular thing and it becomes all consuming, and in the grand scheme of things, it's not that important, or there's another solution, right? I mean, how many times have we bumped into technology that hasn't worked and we've just slammed our head up against the wall and the answer was just go spend $50 and buy something else, right? You know, that's one of the reasons people have a hard time with innovation. People have a hard time recreating their companies or recreating a new opportunity or seeing an opportunity because they're programmed, this is what I do, this is how I do it. And if it's in that fight or flight and it's kept you alive for however many years, and that story you're telling yourself is I gotta live and life is happening to me, that's the only way I'll survive, and you have a track record, those stories are pretty powerful, and those beliefs are really stacked up with facts, successful truths that have provided really good results. But what do you do when those beliefs and those truths are causing you not to be able to grow?
I certainly think that it's a really big limiting factor. I mean, even for myself, it really hasn't been until maybe these last couple of years that I've come to realize that I'd gotten stuck in a mindset, and it was causing sort of a blockage in my life, and it was really stopping the flow of some joy and even just but the thing is that once those belief systems are built, they're not so easy to break down as you would think. That perspective switch, that flip, that attitude adjustment is sometimes necessary over and over and over again, moment to moment in the same day, when you're trying to convince yourself of an entirely different mindset, when you're trying to go down a different road. And you have to keep thinking to yourself, what is this teaching me? Where is this positioning me? Is this the bridge I'm going to die on? Probably not. So it's got to be building me up for something else.
So you just touched on something. You've used the metaphor a couple of times, is this the bridge I'm going to die on? And it's, you got to be on your way somewhere, right? These things might be keeping you safe if you never change. But if you have no destination and you're wandering in the wilderness, then you're probably a victim. But as soon as you set your eyes on something, as soon as you have a destination, President Santos called it a port of call, a port of destination, then you get to be able to see, hey, is this belief, is this truth helping me reach my destination or not? And, hey, look, I found a definition called neurosis.
We're looking at his phone. I looked down and I was like, what?
Neurosis. So a neurosis.
Are you looking at this?
Yeah. Nope, not good enough. Anyway, what I think it means is a old belief system that provided support and help, but you have now outgrown it and it is now holding you back.
I said it was a mental illness.
Don't trust the internet. This is the first thing
Let's do our research before we do our lives.
Maybe. I didn't know I needed to know until you started being super smart. And I was like, yeah, she's good.
Well, I have thought.
Ooh, tell me all of them.
I just thought it. I read an article this week, and it was a really interesting article, and it was by someone who was like, "Hey, all you overachievers, stop pushing the rest of us to achieve. Some of us are perfectly fine where we are."
Yes.
So what if you're not a victim and you're not a hero, but you're also not a conduit? What if you're just an observer? Do you think that's okay to be that sometimes?
Yeah, because check it out.
Because realize, guys, we are all of these other three at some point in our lives, at some point in our day. I mean, we experience all of these all of the time. It's a big, big cycle. We're certainly more fruitful when we're in the conduit stage, the through me stage.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you think about there possibly being a fourth one of these?
So the fourth quadrant, because it's a quadrant, and we've only named
Because
3.
Adam needs a quadrant for his PowerPoint he's going to make later.
So good. I might even have a Venn diagram, and my gosh, it's going to be on. It's going to be LEET. Is that what they say?
I don't think that's what they say.
It's going to be fire with a Y.
I think it's lit.
It's going to be something hot, temperature-wise. So picture a quadrant. I'm going to use my hand to help you. Okay, so over here is life is happening to me. Then over here, life is happening by me. Victim, hero. Life is happening through me. I'm a somewhat observer, but I still have my hands in the stuff, and I'm turning the diamond. And then this is just straight up love.
I'm just covering my face.
This is straight up love. Love is an active, observant behavior of what's going on around you. And you don't have to do anything. You can just merely be filled with joy and be in the moment and not have an emotional attachment to worrying about the future, not having an emotional attachment of regretting the past. It's just simply living in the now and not giving a rat's ass about these other 3 quadrants. And it's just living in love. And some people call that spirituality. Some people call that God. Some people call that a freaking nice boat. No one ever calls that.
What if it's just contentedness?
Well, that's
What
exactly.
if you could just live there for a minute?
Nobody has the
without
right to tell
production.
you. Yeah. Go do it, right? So we're going to go down to Panama City Beach, me and the 2 kids, while Carrie goes on a riding retreat to Charleston. And we're going to meet a good buddy of ours, Jonathan Bates. What's up, brother? And he is just fun to hang out with.
Yeah,
and my daughter's like, "Oh, you're going to go work. You're working." I'm like, you don't understand. Talking about business, modeling this thing and the other, and talking through problems and trying to save the world and change the world. That's not work, man. That's my hobby. That's what I do for fun, right? That's just what I enjoy doing, and so does he. And so the idea that we're going to be going down there and we're going to just be there but have like no attachment to the results. I don't care what your calling is, as long as you know it's your calling, and if you can live in that upper, whatever, left to you, right for us, I don't know. If you can live in that love state, if you can live in the now and not have to worry about all that other crap, be contented, don't worry about production. Man, the world is going to be okay. There are people motivated to do a thing, and let those people do that thing. You do whatever you're called to do, and don't worry about that other garbage.
You need to grow out your hair. Because you sound like such a hippie.
Yeah.
We'd be good hippies.
I'm going to the BVI. I'm not going to wear shoes for a week.
Yeah. So we asked the question this week about some of the ways that you guys...
Did you just call me a hippie? Did you not like my quadrant answer?
No, I did. It was lovely.
The story I'm telling myself is you didn't. That's the story. That's my perspective.
I did. I actually did. I think we should spend the rest of the evening drawing it out on the whiteboard.
Why don't we just hug?
Okay. So we asked what some of the ways in which you guys kind of give yourself an attitude adjustment in the moment. Because this is all good in theory, but when you're living it, what do you do? We had people say, I separate myself, I walk away. Val used humor. That's one of my favorite. I can totally see that about you, Val. Adam wanted to share how he changes his mindset in the middle of a traffic jam.
All right, picture this. You're in traffic. and it's stop and go, and this dude in a really nice car cuts you off. And then he cuts off another guy. And he cuts off another guy. And he cuts off another guy. And here's what the majority of the human race thinks. Can you just go beep, beep, beep? That's not, you're supposed to do the beeps for my cuss words.
Beep, 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 beep,
No,
beep.
not honking no. So we didn't rehearse this. I was gonna cuss and she was gonna beep it. That rat bat son of a, I will kick his, and he was a mother, what the mother, right?
That's pretty good.
Thanks. Right? And what does that do? That just, you're already in a tense situation and now you're like even more angry at that guy. And because you believe that first time he cut you off, that he was a douche sickle, then the second time he cut someone else off, that just affirms lower truth is going to find a lower fact. He cut someone else off. Now he's an asshat. And then he cuts off another person. And I can't say out loud on the internet what you now think this guy is because you just continue to go da-da-da-da-da. So perspective is a fact filtered through a story, filtered through previous experiences. I have had previous experiences where I have really had to use the bathroom and I was stuck in traffic. So the story I tell myself is, oh, that poor guy, he must really have to poop. He is probably about to crap his pants. And every time he makes a jerk in front of somebody else, I'm like, he's getting closer. Come on, buddy, you can do it. Let him through. He's gonna, it's gonna be bad.
And
right?
in fact, it's really funny because now if we get cut off in traffic or whatever, my kids will now say, oh, poor guy, he must have to poop. So that's how we change our perspective.
But here's the thing is we really don't know what this person is going through. Maybe they got a phone call that says that your wife is having a baby, you gotta go there and boom, boom, boom. And so statistically speaking, it's who knows. But you get to choose what you believe based off of the data. And if you're gonna tell yourself a story, why in the world would you tell yourself a story that makes you angry when you could just tell yourself a story that makes you giggle?
That's a really good way to go about it, I think. I think putting it through the humanness litmus test is a very good way to do it. I try and do that too. Empathy, that's what it's called.
Yeah.
I try and get ahead of why I might be responding to something so strongly. And then just really try and be understanding of the fact that everybody's human. And even if I'm reacting, that's probably a chance that they're reacting to something as well. There's some piece that I haven't seen. There's some part of the puzzle I haven't seen yet. We don't get to know everything. So it's just like in, the picture that I posted on Facebook where you see this big scene of a road in France and you can see the Arc de Triomphe on the end, and up close to you is an umbrella. Clearly the umbrella is not as big as the Arc de Triomphe, but they look like it. But they just make it look that way to give it some depth, to give it some dimension. You don't actually see that depth, or you don't see what's behind the umbrella. You don't see, there's always something that you're not seeing. There's always some piece of the puzzle that you can't possibly understand. So I try and just keep that in mind when I'm putting it through my filter.
That's so good. And sometimes on the end of that filter, you get to something that you're uncomfortable with. One of the tools, the coping tools that we brought to adulthood from our teenager years is right when you start entering into the teens, you begin having a flood of hormones and a flood of emotions and a flood of all this stuff, but you aren't necessarily equipped to deal with those emotions. And so what teenagers do is to shut down, I don't care about anything. And then they let you hold those emotions as the parent or as their friends. And because they don't know how to deal with the emotion, they give it to you and then they get mad at you because you're now holding that emotion for them. And it's a defense mechanism as they're learning how to process this stuff. And so we carry that into adulthood. I'm stuck in traffic. I'm frustrated. I'm angry. I'm helpless. Life is happening to me so hard, right?
So you have to assign it to something.
And I don't want to deal with this, and that guy pissed me off, and thank goodness I can give my righteous anger onto that person, right? Yeah, and so maybe the catharsisness is feeling I get from this practice is in order for me to change my story about the person who cut me off, I have to move at least to by me. I have to get out of victim mode into hero mode. And if I do it well enough, maybe I can even get to through me and not even care if I'm sitting in traffic because, life is tough for a lot of people and I'm in an air-conditioned vehicle.
Exactly.
And don't have to poop.
Hopefully.
Man, that would have been a good line to end on, but let's not.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and wrap up for the after hour. We're going to go ahead and wrap up. Adam is gone tomorrow. He's leaving for the BVI. He's heading to do a talk there. So that's exciting. What else is going on this week?
Gosh, I don't know. It's like a busy week.
I know. Well, we're still waiting for our video from Sadie. So I'm hoping we can get that. We can get that in from Nathan maybe this week and see if we can share that with you guys. So just taking a little bit, but that's okay. If you are interested in doing an interview with Adam and me, we would be happy to set that up. We will be sending out a sign up of some sort, but we haven't quite figured all that part out yet. So hang in there with us, and we will see you guys next week. Will you be back for next week? Or will we be doing it long distance? I think you're coming back on Friday.
I can look at my calendar. Hey, hold on.
You don't have to check your calendar on live Facebook, Adam.
I'll be back on Saturday. So if you want to meet and hang out with me at the BBI, that's cool. Not the 30th, any other day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
I see a kid through that window over there staring at us and waving.
All right, guys. Have a good rest of your week. Thank you. Good night.
We need a good sign off. How about... Oh, man.
We need to do our Anderson handshake. I don't really remember what it was.
Okay.
I don't remember what it was.
Slap, slap, fist goes in, blow it up, grab the face, and shake it.
It was a little bit weird.
That weird is cool.